Hello, everyone. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, and this is the Real Estate Note Investing Be the Bank broadcast. I am your host, Justin Bogard. And today we've got Jamie, we've got Jay, Dan, and we've got Chris. So we got the five amigos here on the show. We got a few things we'll talk about today. Chris had his paper trail conference. We're going to get an update on that. And a few of us have just some things going on. We're going to have some good discussion. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, don't forget to chime in on the comment section of whatever social media platform you are on. So stay tuned. I was having so much fun chatting privately with you guys behind the scenes. I started laughing and I realized, oh, it's almost time to start. So I almost missed my little.
You screwed up the music.
I know, and I screwed up the music too. I just
in your special private elite inner circle.
There you go.
Yeah, my double secret probation private chat. Is that what we used to tell Jamie was in when he was in trouble? Double secret probation. How you guys doing? It's Wednesday.
Fantastic.
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
No complaints.
No complaints, but if you could complain, no one would listen, right?
That is true.
Maybe Jay. Jay's a good ear. He's a good ear, right?
I got 4 of them.
Got 4 ears.
Electronic.
Your hearing aids?
Regular, yeah.
Boost that baby up.
I can crank that up.
All right. So, Chris,
don't start calling
we
me
haven't
4
got
ears.
a chance to talk to you a whole lot since you've been at the Paper Trail Conference. Well, I think you pretty much run that thing, right? That's
I was
all
the
you?
host, but I technically didn't do all the planning and stuff. It was done by Cynthia Hartley, another note investor. So I got to give her all the kudos and credit for organizing that entire event, and some help from her sister, Larissa, from my team, and a few others that assisted on putting that on, including Fred and Tracy, who you both know most of you all know very well, as well as Beth Johnson, who assisted on kind of some of the private lending stuff that we were putting out there. So, yeah, putting on a conference though.
That is done, right?
It's a big undertaking.
But I'll tell anybody listening. Here's a little secret. If you've got like non-performing loans, or like you got stuff that you really want to get an attorney and ask them a bunch of questions, buy them dinner and take them out for drinks, and you are going to get as much legal advice, especially after 3 Irish car bombs down that the attorney has never had before, and they're going down smooth. You're going to get a lot of free good advice. Well, hopefully you think it's good advice if you remember. Yeah, hypothetical advice. Or yes. So, saving, $300-400 an hour with an attorney, you take them out for dinner and a few drinks, that might cost you, $50 or $100. It goes, you definitely get your ROI on that.
We actually do that. We do that with, we take a couple of our key attorneys out about twice a year just to be able to keep good relationships, and specifically for that stuff that we need some additional advice on, but not necessarily looking at paying that type of money for answer a phone call.
Yeah, I've got a foreclosure sale coming up in 2 weeks that is local, and after I've been talking with the attorney about we gotta grab lunch or something, and like the foreclosure is 11, it's like, hey, let's go to foreclosure sale and then we'll grab lunch after that, and buy him lunch, and like I said, you'll get some good time to answer a lot of hypotheticals or just questions. I always like to use other attorneys to ask, hey, have you ever ran into a situation, and is this kind of the way to go about it? Because I might have a deal in Georgia or Florida that I'm like, oh, I've never done this before. And I might ask an attorney in another state, hey, in this state, if this happens, like, what's a good way to go through it to see if it's kind of similar, or if there's other ideas that may come up that you might be able to go back to them and basically like, oh, well, could we do this in this state? Because I heard I could do it in other states. And they're like, oh, let me look into it or whatnot. And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but it's kind of free advice. So,
yep. And you're developing long-term relationships, and that goes a long ways.
Yep.
Are you guys getting a little echo in the background? I keep hearing it.
Echo?
I was just going to put that in the private inner circle chat.
Yes, I did.
Dan, are you using your external mic or using a computer mic?
I'm using computer. I just made a change. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Let's see.
So far, so good.
I think we're good.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Well, blame it on Dan. You're on double secret.
Oh, Dan, and he's the most techie of all of us, I think.
I know. Well, my other headset, like something broke, so I'm trying to figure that out.
All right. Jamie, I thought you mentioned this to me, and perhaps you didn't. Did you have an update to that PPP loan?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
the 23rd
listener who's unfamiliar can go back and watch. Was it last month?
I think it was 2 months ago.
Be back again.
Yeah, it's just I was contacted by the FBI and another agency that they're pursuing. I think it was the Georgia State's Attorney's Office, just that they're pursuing all these people that fraud. So I provided a bunch of documents. I haven't heard back. So it's just one of those things. Like this all happened. All this fraud happened to me and many other people, what, years ago, something like that. And now they're coming around and finally starting to. I think it was 11 people involved in this particular scheme that I was wrapped up in. And just briefly, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I had there was PPP loan fraud where someone used my identity and got $90,000, I think it was, and they filed false tax returns in my company name. I had to close an entity and fight the IRS to prove that I didn't owe them $105,000, and did get a letter from the IRS with an apology. But so within the last
frame that
you got an apology,
written apology from the IRS. Within the last month, I was contacted more just as an FYI that they had indicted these people and that they're pursuing legal action. And so I don't know if I'll be of assistance to the prosecutors and everything, but I doubt there's anything really financially in it for me. But it did cost me a lot of time and money and stress. But at the end of the day, hopefully there will be justice served.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes,
that's crazy how that happens in this industry. You never expect weird things like that to happen, but you just never know.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is the government probably meant well in offering all this free money, but they didn't think through the execution of it. And so I think there were multiple iterations of the PPP loan program because it was essentially a disaster. And then it was just low-hanging fruit for fraudsters to come in and benefit from the situation. So I'll probably have future updates, but yeah, at least they are moving forward with prosecution.
I had I'm going through a couple foreclosures. I just happen to have like 3 sales here in the month of October, which is just weird timing. One of them happens to be in Ohio. Have you guys foreclosed in Ohio before?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I have.
I'm doing it now. Just started.
So I was kind of caught off guard. I got an email from I don't know if you call them a legal assistant or a paralegal. I can't remember their exact title, from the company I was using, and the company's a good law firm that I use in that state and a couple other states. And so they were telling me that the court came back, and I don't know if it's the sheriff that orders an appraisal for the property or someone in the court system orders an appraisal. And it came back at like $39,000 for the property. And I saw that and I'm like going, what? 39,000? So I have like, my judgment's going to be like $100,000 or something. And so I respond back and I was like, how's this appraisal come back? And I was like, what's going on with this? What does this really mean? And like, yeah, they're going to start the opening bid at 2/3 of this appraised price. I'm like, so $26,000? I'm like, so what happens, blah, blah, blah. And I asked some questions. And I think what I did is I misread their email. And so I took it as that was going to be the bid instructions. And that's what I could get out of it. And I was like, whoa, this is not going to work. So I was like freaking out. I ordered like this new BPO and had an agent go out there, and says it's worth like $180,000. So I'm just like, hey, here's this thing, what can we do about this? And then they said, hey, you can do that. You're going to stop the sale, blah, blah, blah. And so I asked to talk to like some sort of higher up attorney and said, like, what's the real deal here? Like, am I losing my mind here? What? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I don't mind being called losing my mind at this point because this is sounding
You can't
better.
bid lower, you can bid higher.
That's just
Yeah,
to get
so I was
the
like,
You
starting
can still bid whatever you
That's
want,
just to get
right?
the
Even
bid
if they
getting started.
open it somewhere else.
Yeah. So I was trying to remember my other Ohio foreclosures that I've done. I'm like, I don't remember having this issue before where the appraisal just comes in ungodly low. It's just that's where they start the bidding process. Doesn't mean that's what the lender has to accept, because it's whatever I give the bid instructions for is like the reserve, let's just say. So I was like, okay, thank God, because I was like, that's going to be a huge loss on my books if that's the case. Like, how dare you, Ohio? How dare you do this?
Only headaches in Ohio.
And usually you can bid up to the full legal balance.
Yeah, which is what I will be doing, because I think there's some equity.
You'll be helping those bids to move up, won't you?
Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to share that, my little dummy moment there.
So we've had a foreclosure in Florida that round 3 just finished.
Oh my God.
The 3rd time it sold at auction, and the
Same
first
foreclosure?
same foreclosure. The first time somebody bid, they put 5% down at closing, then it ended up closing it. Second time, same thing, and it's like $100,000 is what our bid has been, and property is actually worth a little bit more, so they've been selling, or we've been bidding actually like 80,000, but property's been going for like 90 or 100. But so finally on this 3rd go around, we pleaded to the court, can we increase the minimum down payment to like 15%? And they came back and let us do it at 13%, because every time you have to refile, pay the fees, like thankfully those deposits cover it, but don't cover your lost costs or anything along those lines that you may have to carry if like FPI or whatnot. You can add it and like increase your bid, but then it's something like, okay, then if you take it back. But yeah, so this is hopefully 3rd time's a charm on this one that it finally gets sold.
I have a question for you guys, if anybody knows. I mean, I don't think you can do this, but can you bid? You can't bid like from a separate entity, right?
Yeah, you can.
Like it
I
doesn't have to
assume
be
you
an arm.
can.
You can't shill it, meaning you can't basically like bid against yourself to try to jack up the price.
Yeah, well, basically, like
shilling.
let's say I was owed, 100,000, but I think the property's worth 200,000. Can I come in with another entity and buy that for 150?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see
Nothing
why
wrong
not.
with that.
No. Yeah, you can do that.
I've never done that.
You're just giving the borrower more money.
Yeah,
Because there's unclaimed funds there they're owed.
Yeah, but if
Or
I think the property's
Any
worth
overage.
200,
Yeah, I mean, you could also technically, usually in most states, your company can bid higher too, depends. But no, I know people who, because some people, you can foreclose and then assign it to the other entity, but other people just want to keep it separate. So like if you have two funds, one's a debt fund and one's a real estate fund, they'll have the real estate fund bid at auction.
just like if I'm only owed 100 grand, I don't think you can typically bid higher than 100 grand. So if I think the property,
you'd have to bring
I've
money
never-
to closing.
Yeah, I've never done it. Yeah, my understanding was you could do it. You just had to pay the difference if you did.
Gotcha.
Your attorney would have to have the check for the 50,000
Right.
there in hand to.
Right.
So what
I probably should have done that.
It's not pay later. You got to have it right there. Yeah.
So
Right.
I mentioned this in the past. Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I remember that.
They don't allow you to
credit.
credit bid. So like, if you sell or finance a property for 200 grand and that person defaults and you go to foreclose on them, you got to bring 200 grand to the auction. They don't credit you like, oh, you're owed 200. That's credit bid like every other place. You have to bring that money to the foreclosure. We had a property, it was like $120,000 foreclosure. And all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, you actually have to bring that money. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, thankfully we had it because it was in our fund. But if it was like my personal portfolio, I would have been like, I don't have that.
Yeah. I was telling somebody that the other day who I was mentoring on this topic.
I don't like Pennsylvania for investing in there, especially for owner financing. If you're originator, because you're hammered with the usury interest rates.
Yeah,
isn't it 8% the top?
7.5, I believe.
7.5.
7.25.
Wow.
It changes monthly. It's like it was 7.25.
It floats with one of the rates. I forget which one.
I've never had good luck in Pennsylvania with any notes that I've had there, so I just
it's very slow and expensive.
I've had good and bad. I've got one right now, and actually in Philadelphia, that it's going to be a really nice note. The borrower's refinancing and should have us paid off in the next week or so.
That's good.
We'll do really, really well on that one. But I've had I've done well in certain areas of Pittsburgh area. Then I've also had some out in that neck of the woods that have gone really, really bad.
Chris, you were mentioning when we were talking offline, was there a deal that you recently were doing that was just like a funny story or just something crazy happened, or everybody didn't understand what you were saying?
Oh, which one?
Which one?
Which one for you?
It sounded like it was just one particular you had on your mind.
Which one was I thinking of? I've got, oh man, I
think you said the borrower was just acting different or acting a little.
Oh, well, that one we've got a borrower who let the property go to tax sale, which it went to sale, but there's like a 1-year redemption, but there's like a 20% penalty. The borrower, and it was some overage on it. So the borrower is thinking that they can claim that money and all the money is going to go to them so they can then use that money to pay the taxes and pay us back. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. Basically, the money doesn't go to you. It's going to go to me as the lender first, and then there's still, the taxes that have to be owed. But what was interesting about this one was the borrower person sending us emails is not the borrower, but the borrower is copied, claiming she's the borrower, and is like demanding that we accept like a deed in lieu and all this stuff. But she wants us to get a deed in lieu, but allow them to keep the money from the tax claim. And it's like, no. But so my attorney even called her, and she answered and said, hi, my name is XYZ. And then she realized who the number was from. She's like, oh, I mean, my name is this. So it's like they're pretending to be like the wrong person, which is just mind numbing from that standpoint.
That's just an honest mistake, right?
Yeah, so don't know, but it's funny because like in the emails it says her name and number, and she's claiming that when you call that number, it's like a different name. It's like, you're a realtor, like your number is everywhere.
Your picture too.
We're trying to figure it out though, because we're trying to, piece together like the woman that's helping is the one that sold this other person the property. So then that person's in default. So it's just a really, there's a lot of things like things that just smell a little odd on this deal.
Yeah, it's got a
but,
sniff.
yeah,
sniff
we got
factor there.
we got a foreclosure coming up on it anyways. From that standpoint. But I mean, we had another borrower today basically who's got 6 properties that we've got loans with. One of them's he's closing on it in 2 weeks, but the other 5, he's like, go ahead, take them. I'll give them deed in lieu and back to you. Got another one in Florida, like, here, take it. Got several. We're seeing a lot more people now. Previously when they had all this huge equity, now even if there's a little bit of equity or some equity, people are just so cash strapped right now. They're like, here, just take it, because by the time you foreclose and all the fees add up and stuff, there's going to be nothing left. So we're seeing a lot more deed and lieu's and foreclosures going full circle than, the last 2 months we've taken back more properties than I probably took back the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I've got more foreclosures, I think, in process now than back a couple years ago when I was like focusing on non-performers. It's weird. And I've got another one. It's a land contract, so it's technically a forfeiture, but some time ago, it was this year, 2 years ago, we were going through the legal process. We got all the way up to the end, and the borrower had left like all kinds of trash. We had to like clean up the yard to, keep the code inspectors off our back and stuff. And then she showed up at the last minute and reinstated for like $7,000, moved back in after we cleaned it up, and then paid for a while, but then defaulted again. So just had the house like winterized and taken care of, and we just filed the complaint. So and she seems to be off the grid. So I'm thinking this time it's gonna go through, but according to my realtor, there's a good chunk of equity there. So we'll see how this goes, or if she shows up and reinstates or redeems or whatever.
I've got this borrower in North Carolina that I'm finally able to foreclose on. So I filed foreclosure over a year ago. Then they filed bankruptcy at the 11th hour, which they typically do, right? And they never made a payment through bankruptcy, so they let that go on for 6 or 7 months. So the courts were finally dismissed it right after going through that process. And now we're going through foreclosure again. And so the realtor that actually created this note, 4 or 5 years ago that I bought it, I had her go out and drive by the property and say, hey, can you just take some pictures of it? Just show me like what it looks like. I just want to see if someone's there and what it looks like. And she's like, oh yeah, they're there. As a matter of fact, they're still running a business out of their house. They're selling hot plates. They're cooking there. And she got scared off by, I think, the daughter of the borrower. And she's like, Justin, don't send me out there again. Like that was kind of scary. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? She's like, yeah, they have no intention of leaving this property. I'm like, what?
I mean, daughters could be scary.
I guess the sheriff's going to be knocking on the door as soon as I'm able to have them out there, have them evicted. So we'll see how that goes. I'll give you an update on that, hopefully after a few months.
That'll be interesting. I'm just curious what may be in the cookies.
In the cookie?
Yeah, in the cooking that they're doing.
Oh, cooking. Sorry, they said cookie. I have a trouble hearing too, Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, that reminds me of one time I had a realtor go by a property and take photos. And one of the photos came back. The borrower was standing in the doorway, like with his hands on his hips, like looking all mean and stuff.
Nice. My favorite, I may have mentioned this one, but my favorite BPO was the one where the realtor sent me pictures of from the Google Street View.
I've had that too.
And it was like,
mine was,
and he swore, he's like, are you accusing me of lying? I was like, it's literally the exact same shadow from the tree, and it's the same. Yeah.
Yes, I am accusing you of lying. Yes, that's correct.
I had one that was set August in like Indiana, and it basically had snow covered on it. I'm like, yeah, no. But my favorite one was in Houston, Texas, after the floods from, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whenever, where it's like, $150,000 value, 3-bed, 2-bath home, needs no work, house was gone, not even there, got destroyed in the floods, and there was like a lawn chair sitting in the front yard. So I sent it back to the BPO company, and I'm like, it was like one of my first BPOs I ordered from them, and I replied, and they all, these BPO companies, all they talk about is all the due diligence and the checking that they do, and the internal audits, and they make sure everything's done properly, and they all tout these processes that they do, and I'm like, here you go. And I'm like, how did everybody miss this? That's interesting to see. It's the same thing as, these Baltimore fraudulent loans, because a lot of them also got the CDAs, which are comparative, where they audit like the audits by a third party. And like, oh, yep, these are all good. And it's like, yeah, $50 million worth of bad loans later, realize, oh, maybe they weren't that good.
Yeah, and it's not until it was the potential buyers who on Wall Street who found it, because they're the ones putting money into it. Like, they're the ones who actually have an interest in actually doing due diligence.
Yep. So those loans are selling pretty darn cheap.
Are they?
I'm sure they are. I'm sure
I
they
bought
are.
about 15 of them. So
Yeah, that's if people are unfamiliar with that story, it's wild. I mean, it's
Is that you talking about the one where the corrupt BPOs?
yeah, corrupt appraisals. Yeah,
appraisals. And
appraisals. Yeah.
What, Chris? Is it maybe like 100 million or more? Is it more than that potentially?
I mean, I have seen just on loans come across my desk at least 40 million of it. So that's only what I've seen, and I'm sure there's more.
It's pretty wild. I don't know if we've talked about this, but just pretty wild how they do it, how they did it, because after Dodd-Frank, the appraisers can't have direct contact with lenders. But they had this fairly elaborate scheme of allegedly, this is all alleged, but if the appraiser billed $444, then they knew
that was the magic number.
Yeah, then they know, all right, this appraiser is working working with this scheme, and then then they would. That's how they went through with the.
I feel like we did bring this up on the call about 3 or 4 months ago when Chris brought this up, right?
What's crazy about it is, because I have the collateral files and I have everything, the person running this wasn't like somebody like, down in the ditches, basically no money or so forth. They had some coin, because they provided personal financial statements with bank, information that I'm like, why? I'm just like, I mean, it's not like you had $5,000 to your name, it was, mind numbing.
Well, he may not once this is all done.
Oh yeah. The other one that I know, Jamie, you sent me to was the Narada, Narada, the guy out of
I believe I said.
Yeah, he's
NORADA, Narada.
He's reached a plea deal, but $60 million went poof, I guess. So
Ponzi scheme.
Yep.
I still get his email of the deal of the week.
I do too, and I'm like, you basically got indicted by the Fed, you reach a plea agreement, and you're still sending out emails about your deals.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on,
How
buddy,
does
read
that
the room. Read the room.
Is he still doing a podcast? Isn't that like part of the play when you go down that road?
I mean, they of course pulled that in, but there's somebody filling in for him at this point in time. But why would you want to fill in like, hey, I'm filling in for the guy who's indicted? Like, whoo, like
can't look. Well, can't look.
But these are really good deals.
I should have known there was, because I reached out to him a long time ago about a guest on his podcast. Yeah. And I know many of us on here have podcasts, and he did give me eventually the person's name, but in his podcast, they only list the first name, and you had to go through him to get the information about the guest. And it's like, okay. Normally with a podcast, it's like, here's all the guest information, it's mutually beneficial.
The other one, the other one, I know, Jamie, you know this one, but he's been on Bigger Pockets recently about disappearing on everyone, is Garnico.
Yeah.
Remember them?
I don't know.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I don't know. People have reached out to me about him. I mean, I had him on my podcast too. Yeah. But I don't know what's.
You take everybody on the street.
I was gonna say, Jamie, what's your batting average? I was on there. Now I'm getting concerned.
Oh, I
Dan,
try.
I think you're the only one who hasn't been on. You want to come on my show?
I haven't traded any crimes lately. I don't know.
Dan's like, I'm busy that day. I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Did he just kind of disappear, Chris?
Disappeared, and people are going. I read on Bigger Pockets the other day. Again, allegedly, people going after him, but he basically disappeared. And basically, that's his plan was somebody give him a loan at 12%. He'll go rehab the property and flip it. But in the same token, he was across the pond in the other part of the world, and trying to flip from that far away, I'm sure was not especially in Pennsylvania, as we've already mentioned, is not an easy
Right.
state to deal with.
Yeah, that's not easy.
Not the AG. Don't have a land contract over there.
So, yeah, but we did. I mean, it's interesting though. Like, you know, some of these borrowers, like, you know, some of these crazy stories of, I've got one that is refusing to do a deed in lieu because even though they're underwater, and we basically told them we won't go after them because they got the properties rented and he's just collecting rent. But, you know, to me, it's like, okay, but another next, you know, another one, I've got a borrower who realizes like, oh, I'm in trouble. And it's like, here, just, you know, I'll deed in lieu it and, you know, walk away. And certain people understand like, okay, the ego doesn't get in the way, and they are like, understand it's a business, and hey, look, but you know, some of these people, just the ego is just completely gets in the way of
You
them.
mean from an
And
investor standpoint or
an
borrower?
investor or owner, property owner, borrower.
Yeah.
Borrower is like, I
Mhm.
figure out a way, I'll do this, I'll do that. I mean, we've got one right now, we're trying to figure something out with a person who literally is like getting loan shark debt to try and like stay afloat. And it's like,
Mhm.
all you're doing is borrowing money at a higher interest rate to pay off lower interest rate money. I'm like, that's not going to end well. And
Yeah,
the
the
person's like,
default is way worse on that money than it is on your mortgage.
Yeah.
money.
and it's like, you know, and the person's saying, well, I'm going to get a loan because then I can finish the rehab or do this. And I'm like, your credit's like 5 something. You can't afford any of your bills. You're cash negative. Nobody's going to give you a loan if you can't pay it back.
But
So-
Chris,
Mhm.
I got
don't know,
I
you'd
got
be
a line
surprised,
on this
Chris.
dog race. They're gonna
So-
the pooch in the
Oh,
third race
you-
is gonna
yeah.
win.
Somebody will, but it's going to be at such a stupid interest rate that's still going to.
No, my
Yeah.
FanDuel,
I
my
mean, I've
FanDuel
seen some-
parlay.
I mean, I've seen some crazy credit reports where borrowers just never paid anything in their life, but yet people like kept giving them credit cards and other lines of credit. And I'm always curious, like, when your credit goes below 500, like, how do you get the next credit line? But
Yeah.
sometimes it happens.
Yeah, you probably see a lot more credit reports nowadays, huh, Dan?
Do you remember
Some of them are
2005,
bad.
2006?
True.
People that just don't pay anything.
Jay had 14 loans
Yeah.
on 15 houses. Count that up.
So we've got this one other situation where some short-term performing loans that we've originated in the past is one guy brought us a few deals in the past, and like 2 of the 3 went non-performing. And
Like bridge loans.
yeah, but they had 20% default interest. We ended up getting paid off and not have to foreclose or whatnot, but they were just pains in the asses. And he brought us one recently, and you know, guy just finished his house, probably $850,000 house, was asking for like 700 grand. I'm like, nope, I'll give you 500. Guy's like, okay, fine. So we give the guy 500 grand, but the guy who brought the deal did a second for 200 grand on top of it to give the guy the money. Borrower's in default. Okay. So we send the demand letter. The guy who's in second is calling us, screaming at us, telling him, you can't foreclose this and that. I'm like, you're the one who brought me, you brought me the shitty deal. Now you know what I go through on these deals. You're going to have to deal with it. He's like, well, I'll just reinstate. And I'm like, that's fine. Go ahead. You can reinstate for this guy. But at the end of the day, his loan matures in 2.5 months. So what are you going to do then? You know, you're going to cut me a $500,000 check then?
Oh my.
Got another borrower who's threatening to call the FBI on us and the prior lenders. Claims that the modification he signed by a DocuSign through his email, somebody broke into his account and DocuSigned a modification. All the loan docs he signed in person with a notary are not his.
Why would someone want
I
to?
mean, because there's such a
sign
good
that
motive
stuff.
to do that for that
Yeah,
person.
Yeah.
what's the
Yes,
incentive to sign
absolutely.
that?
I love
the
doing that to people.
So how this here's what's funny about it though, because he originally said, well, I'm going to sue all the prior lenders. And my attorney's like, well, you can't because you signed a modification that waived all your rights. He's like, I didn't sign that mod. So then we go back and say, well, if you didn't sign the mod, just realize that your payoff is going to be a lot higher because they deferred a lot of the expenses and everything back then.
Right.
So do you want you can't sue anybody and higher
Right.
payment, or you want a lower payment, or you can sue everybody, but your payoff is $100,000 higher. Pick
Welcome
your
to the
poison.
lose-lose situation.
Yeah, it's like one hand he's got the grenade with no pin, the
Yeah.
other he stepped on the
Landmine.
on the landmine. Like, which one do you want, buddy?
You're gonna lose your hand or your foot.
Yeah.
So I had one just before, like the listener and viewer thinks that we're all we're about is kicking people out of their homes and foreclosing. I do have several foreclosures going on, and we are, we're pretty, at 60 days we set the loan for full reinstatement only. At 90 days we send a demand letter, but there's always exceptions to the rule. So you've got this is where kind of the art comes in versus the science. And we had one recently where I've owned this loan for probably 5 years, and she's generally been a slow payer, but pays all the time. And I mean, at the end of the day, she really had never fallen behind more than a couple months. And she'd fallen behind, and we contacted our attorney to start foreclosure. And then she reached out to the servicer and said she just had, heart surgery, I think double bypass surgery, and just needed to the end of the month and she would reinstate. And there's no formula to decide, what to do. I just felt like based on her track record, she's a good payer and she would probably come through. I didn't really, I don't know. I was cautiously optimistic, but yeah, the end of September.
You give her an opportunity anyway.
Yeah. And the end of September, she reinstated. So I was
good.
Yeah, it was better for both of us that way.
We all have those stories, but they're not. I mean, they're boring.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to hear those.
Vanilla.
Like, yeah,
Like
going
case
through that.
studies,
I got
saying what I
hundreds
just
of
said
them
was
that we
boring.
modified. We modify a loan. We got to work them. They stay in the house. It's like, okay, it's like what's the Christmas channels, those movies where you go back to your small town. Hallmark. It's like the Hallmark stories. You have certain people that like the Hallmark stories, but we're more like people typically in the note space, like the Friday the 13th stories.
It's
Right.
the eyesore in your portfolio. Like 98% of it's cool. It's all good. It's that 2% that's fun to talk about, James.
I'll try not to be boring next time,
Come on,
Chris.
James.
Well, the biggest thing is just trying to find out what the story is, and if the story, and determining whether the story is legit. Okay, and what's the cause? That really becomes a challenge. We've got 3 right now that we are sending demands out, and we'll see what the story is. That at least gets the ball rolling and gets their attention, and saying, hey, we're playing seriously, and see what kind of response we get back. One has already made a payment, a big chunk. They're about $116 short yet, so all of that is being held in suspense. So we'll see if they get the rest of that paid up before the end of the month. But we'll see what the scenario is. So we try to work with them, but there comes a point where you have to move forward. It's just a business decision.
You know why they call it a suspense account?
Because it suspends? I don't know.
Because the lender is always wondering if they're actually going to get that money or not.
Yeah.
Every time I see shit goes in the suspense account, I'm like, oh God, am I going to actually get that freaking
Anybody
money?
actually got to get that? I'm about ready to
Please tell me
send
the
an email and
funds
say, hey,
cleared.
when are you going to release this?
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I'm the first one on top of it when it comes to the servicers. Like, hey, I see that's in suspense. That's coming to me, right?
Yeah. How long are you going to keep that in suspense?
that clear?
It's
Is that
almost
clear?
30 days. It's time to let it go.
Like, Justin, it's been 12 hours. The bank hasn't even passed another day. Like, I know. I'm just checking.
Like, we just had to borrow reinstate a $40,000 reinstatement.
What?
Holy cow.
Okay, and then his October 1st payment. Guess what?
He's late.
Fault?
Hadn't paid.
Where is it? Literally $40,000 reinstatement. Thank you very much.
Well, how long
Yeah.
did he not pay?
I
Was there little
think
white
it was
powders on the bills as they turned them in?
I think it was like 14 months.
Oh, okay. So it's a once a year payment plan. That's what he's thinking.
It's an annual payment, Chris.
It's an annual payment, Chris.
With late
It's
fees.
like property taxes. You just once a year.
He's
Oh,
not.
I
late yet.
shouldn't say that.
All right, I wanted to change this up a little bit. just talk about a random subject. For those of you listening or watching, if
And you're probably thinking we're already random.
if you were interested in hearing some more note investing topics, you can sign off now. The rest of it's just not going to be about note investing.
Is it why there's 52 cards in the deck of cards?
It might be something relative to that.
Actually, read that story. It's pretty interesting.
So I'll go around the room. Everyone will have their chance. And if you can't think of it, I can go first since I was the one that brought this idea. So comfort food. So you're having a stressful day, stressful week, stressful time, and you like, how do I get to enjoy something? And you pick food to be that enjoyment. Like, what is it that's the food that you're going to go get to have some sort of enjoyment? Could be a fast food place, could be a to-go order from somewhere, just somewhere you'd be like, man, that's just
Chocolate chip ice cream.
Chicken noodle soup.
I was going to say
and chicken noodle soup.
I was
What'd
going
you
to
say, Christopher?
Chocolate chip ice cream.
Chocolate chip ice cream. Very nice.
Yeah,
So
I
no
was
one,
gonna say ice cream. I'm
no
not
one
getting
has
that
food so
specific.
far. They just had dessert. Okay.
Okay, well, isn't that considered still food?
Dan's appetizer.
My wife's house desserts first. When she grew up, dessert was first before they ate the
Stopping in
rest.
Fort Wayne, I guess, for a trip. So what's yours, Jay?
Priorities.
Mine was ice cream, but I'm not
Was ice cream?
specific. I'll take it all.
You'll take it all. I just want food. Jamie, did you have something in mind?
I don't know. Say
Okay.
a burger.
Yeah.
I guess.
I always
He
end
is boring, isn't he?
Yes. Too boring.
No.
Medium
Cheeseburger.
well done.
Cheeseburger.
Medium well. How do you like your burger?
Yeah.
Medium or medium rare.
Curly fries or
What kind of burger? Where's your
fries?
favorite spot? Your favorite burger
I
joint?
mean, my son loves Five Guys. He's in the hospital, and I've been bringing him Five Guys. So of
Okay.
course I got to get.
You have to have one then.
I have to get one too while I'm there.
Yeah.
So.
I've only had
Is-
five
You don't want him to
guys
eat
in my life.
alone, by no means.
Is that the
Yeah.
place that has the peanuts on the floor where you can eat
No.
the peanuts out of the bag?
Oh, it
Yeah.
does?
Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Something
do.
else.
It is?
Okay.
You can
Mhm.
like grab the peanuts while you're in line, eat
Yeah.
them, and throw the peanuts on the
Right.
floor, and like no one cleans it up.
Yeah. I do that at home, and I don't know if they're still there.
They don't clean themselves up.
How
They
is it
haven't taught 'em well.
sanitary? All right, so you're a medium rare to medium cooked burger. You don't care if the garnishes are on it. You're just
I don't know why our number of viewers just went to 0. I mean,
it's 'cause they signed off.
so weird. So
Boring.
weird.
So I don't know what it is. I go for Qdoba. Do you have Qdoba where you guys are?
Yeah.
At?
I love that. Yeah, they're
just got
Denver
back
based, I
into it.
believe.
I
Yeah.
go
What'd you
for
say,
a
Dan?
chicken
Sorry.
queso burrito with some chips and queso as a dessert.
They
later.
have a surf and turf that's pretty good. Steak and shrimp bowl. It's really
I
good.
haven't tried that one. That's just my go-to comfort food. So we got ice cream, kind of ice cream for Jay, chicken noodle soup. We got the burger. We got the burrito.
Nice.
That is really random.
Yeah, thank you. I worked hard on that.
Since
I
last
just-
month.
I just actually just thought of it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Mine's gonna be note related.
Okay.
What's your
Back
favorite
notes.
state?
State.
Yeah, favorite state. If you had to pick one, you could only invest in one state for the rest of your investing career. What would it be?
I'm kind of torn between two.
Got to pick one, baby.
I've done well in Michigan. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say Texas or Michigan for me.
I was going to say Texas is what I was going to say.
I mean, Texas is the easiest to work in. It's just I've done so much in Michigan and I've had good results there.
If I'm
the pricing's usually higher in Texas just to
Yes.
buy.
That
you
it
know,
is.
But
if I've got land, I'm probably going to go Texas. But if I have a house, I'm probably going to North Carolina.
Why North Carolina?
Super quick.
Like I say, I was thinking their foreclosure laws just recently changed.
I thought it was a little longer.
It's pretty quick, but my experience has been pretty quick.
Okay, was it South Carolina? One of the Carolinas, something changed in the foreclosure laws just recently.
I don't know. North
No.
Carolina's a deed of trust state.
Yep, so.
Okay, so that
I
should
probably-
be fairly quick.
I think I go Tennessee. Georgia a close second. Georgia, but I think
I like
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I like
Tennessee's on our radar.
I've got, and I posted in my group that foreclosure that we started on 6:30, and by 9:30 we had the deed in our back pocket already because the attorney I use there is just like on
Yeah.
top of their shit.
I've
It's
only
so
done
nice.
one there, and yeah, my attorney was the same way. Like he basically laid it out, like here's how it's gonna go, and gave me the dates, and like that's how
Yeah.
it went.
You can still smear the ink on the deed because it's so fast.
That's pretty quick.
That's actually yeah,
The
what you
judge
just
signed
said,
this 2 seconds ago. Like,
that is not something most attorneys do. That would be really nice. It's almost like you have to beg
So-
for what does it look like? Tell me how the next like 6 months is going to play out.
Well,
you
I
know?
yeah, I try to give them the caveat because I know what they're worried about, right? They don't want me to come back and bitch at them
Right.
if
But
when things look later because they don't really control it. So
well,
I kinda give them
they never make any promises. Attorneys never make any promises. So it's like, all right, we know you're not promising.
It all
it,
depends. It
but
depends.
exactly.
Well-
But like you're going into this blind, you don't really know how it might play out. And from an investor standpoint, it's very important, the timeline.
Yeah, I just want like baseline expectations. Like
Yeah.
I understand that stuff happens and mileage
Right.
varies and all that.
And it's sometimes like I'm working on a deed in lieu, but it's actually 2 properties in 2 different states. And I told the attorney a week ago, get the agreement drafted and your deed in lieu in place. And I'll reach out to the attorney in the other state you're not licensed and get it. I reach out to the attorney in the other state. Now on, let's say Wednesday, Monday, this morning I have the deed in lieu, send it to him like, hey, here's this portion. Do you have your portion ready yet? Oh no, we probably won't have it for another week. And I'm like, it's a deed in lieu. Like, how long does it literally take to put a deed in lieu together? I mean,
it's templated for the state pretty much.
yeah. And I'm like, in the agreement, and I'm like, do you want me to send the draft agreement? But,
Right.
it's just frustrating because, like anything, time is money. And this is a property that's in an HOA and other it's like,
Yeah.
I just want to get the property back, control it, get it sold, and go on my way. But it's like, so.
what do you guys, if you haven't been to a state before that you have to foreclose on or use some sort of legal action as the lender or the creditor, what's the best way that you go about trying to find the right attorney for you to use? I know it's easy to find an attorney, but what about the right attorney? Like, obviously cost, you want to be aware of, and then competency. Like I have my little ideas, but I'm just curious how you guys go about finding them attorney.
Yeah, I just generally ask around my network.
Yeah,
and
that's
see
what I was going to say.
people
Ask that.
recommend. Like, if
Yeah.
there's somebody I trust that recommends somebody, then I'll go talk to that attorney to try to get an idea of like what's involved in that state.
What if you cannot find an investor friend that has foreclosed in that state that you trust to find an attorney?
I've never
what do you
had
do
that
then?
because I feel like you'd have to be in like a really weird state. Like you have to be like in Alaska or North Dakota or something
Puerto
Hawaii.
Rico.
for that to happen.
Siberia.
Siberia.
I'm gonna
51st.
bite my tongue on that one. But besides, like trying to find an experienced note investors list online that you could go download or join somebody's group or portal to go download. Typically, I do kind of what Dan does, which is reach out to other investors. I also talk to the attorneys I use that I trust in those
Yeah.
states. Like, hey, look, I got this in this state. Who do you look to or use? I typically, when I get a referral from somebody, I will ask them, like, have you actually done a foreclosure, worked with that person in the state? Because it sometimes can be well, I'm going to tell you this person because this person told me, that person told you because this person told me, that person told me this person, and that person told me because, the Texas guy in the orange jumpsuit gave you that name. So, like,
The daisy chain. The
Yes.
good old daisy chain.
I'm always very clear if I refer. I'm like, I have not used this person, but they,
Mhm.
someone else
Yeah,
said they
Put that
recommend.
disclaimer out there.
Yeah.
You have a list put together, Jamie?
I do. I kind of stole it from somebody on this call. No, I
Dan?
didn't steal it. No,
Jay?
um,
Justin? Who else
Chris.
is it?
Chris had a
Steals
Chris had a
everything from
spreadsheet,
me.
but we also had our own kind of
You don't
less.
you have every
robust-
state, Chris? Somebody on
Yeah,
every state?
I do, and actually we rate them as well. So we actually score them and grade them every quarter. And literally 5 minutes before this call, I got a message that is, let's see, like, honestly, I think I'm done with XYZ altogether. I literally had that thought earlier today. I don't love X and Y. because these attorneys, I'm also using them on a different portfolio, and everything takes forever. So, they may have been an A or B, but people change or things happen. And certain attorneys also are really good on the bread and butter. Like if there's nothing that goes wrong, but if it's something that's, like an auto manufacturer, so off the assembly line, perfect. But if it's something different, forget it. And that's where you always have to, and that's just what they're good at. So it's not anything against them, but it doesn't fit what we need.
One thing I would say too is, some attorneys, some of these national firms, like maybe great in one state and terrible in another, and or multi-state firms. And I've had one attorney that I like. He's moved to multiple firms in the last several years, and we've just continued to work with him because I know he's good, and that's really the main thing, right? So it's not always the name of the law firm that's important.
Correct.
It's really the person you're working with.
Yeah, and I think Chris had a good point too with like vendors in general, right? Like they change over time. Like I've had experiences with vendors where they were hot garbage and then they became good, and like vice versa. So if you're getting a recommendation, if it's a couple years old, things may have changed for better or for worse since then.
The other thing too is specific attorneys, as we're starting to see more defaults, we're all very small fish in the sea for them. And they've got much bigger clients, and they may have a bigger client that comes in, they got a case that's just sucking up a lot of their time, and they might not have the time for you. And sometimes they are not going to tell you, hey, look, they may say, hey, I've got this other big case, but you have to read between the lines like, hey, look, if you can't take this on, or if it's too much, hey, I'm okay to go somewhere else, because I'm trying to push this through quickly. And you're not going to lose my business in the future. I actually appreciate you being honest with me and saying, hey, look, I got this really big case, or this client who's got me a lot of deals that just got pushed through that's sucking up a lot of my time, and my paralegal left, and it's chewing up more time. Life happens to everyone in companies. So understanding that sometimes it isn't like, oh, now they just suck. It's no, they're going through a hardship, which everyone goes through, or something may happen, or they're just too busy for you. And no offense, but those bigger clients keep the lights on for a lot of those businesses. So that's where they're going to go. And it's great that you're the client, but it's also business.
Yeah, their margins are going to be way better on those bigger clients than they are on people like us that just need to get in and out quickly.
Yeah. To Dan's point on the vendors changing real quickly, one example is Madison. I thought was Madison Management Services. I thought was very good back in the day, and then when they did their move, and they had some staff changes when they moved out to Nevada. It was pretty rough for a bit there. It was like okay, and then now I think they're
I think they're back.
I think they're better than ever. So
do you know how many loans they service?
Servicer. What's that?
Do you know how many loans they service?
No, how many?
Over 10,000.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a much larger staff than they used to.
There was an email from FCI that suggested that FCI was doing like 87,000, and I wasn't sure if that was like over their history or if like that's what they.
No, that's what they. So FCI, all the big private money lenders, all use FCI. So all these DSCR loans and these fix and flip loans and everything, 90% of them go to FCI. That's where they started. That's where they grew. And then they got into the
loans or their thing. Right.
Yeah, the residential was kind of an offshoot that they do, which I know they don't do New York. I don't think anymore, or they're very careful in New York. But
they do.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe they don't take on new loans, but
they do for Jamie.
They do for me.
They won't take on a New York loan for me. So.
Well, they won't take on a loan for you. I don't know. That's next month.
That's a whole nother
that's next month's discussion.
Yeah.
Teaser.
All right, guys. I think that wraps it up for today for this month. So thanks for joining the call today, and thanks. Chris,
I got a question. Real quick here before we close it out. Who are the primary servicers that you guys are using?
I'm only using Madison.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Who did you say?
Chris said Madison.
Only Madison. Okay. Yeah.
I got 4. I got Madison, FCI, Allied, and Note Servicing Center.
Okay.
Madison, FCI, and I've recently started using Dyke O'Neill. They're in Texas.
No, I've not heard of that one.
For Heckam
the Heckams.
specifically.
Okay. we use Madison, Provident out of Dallas.
Sohal.
All right, Provident, Sohal, yeah.
Mhm.
FCI, and for some of our real local stuff, we'll use Allied.
Mhm.
And we have a bunch of legacy loans and a couple of trusts that are still under Allied. We just don't want to move them because they haven't updated our fees, so we're not going to move them. And then the fund pretty much has primarily been FCI. So I don't think I think I've tried Madison once before, but I don't remember what loan that was. But I need to revisit that one, next loan I get to see how things are going, especially if all of you have been using them. So it's good
If
news.
people start a fund, I would recommend just sticking with one servicer for that, because when you're using multiple within a fund, it's just an accounting nightmare.
That's why I started with
That
one.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
I did the same thing.
That's why we use one, because if we're using multiple, I've tried it in the past and it's just too painful.
Yeah, and since you have experience with them, you have, you know that they're not going to go under tomorrow, right? You don't have that fear of like losing your portfolio to servicing all of a sudden when someone goes under. So that's important to know. Don't use like the small servicer to run your entire operation. Use somebody that's going to be sustainable. Anyways, where was I until Jay interrupted me? Was I
Well, I was
closing?
gonna say, hey, we just got a comment here. I don't know if you can see it or not. This might be up your alley, Chris. It says, "Hey guys, from Brian Williams. Does any of you have an interest in purchasing fix and flip NPLs in Maryland and Texas?"
I have NPLs, fix and flip loans that are in Maryland and Texas. Some of them are near completion. I've got one in Texas that was about 40% complete, called the Green Goblin, that we are renovating right now. It's made the news twice. I have an interior designer who's like friends with the news station, so now we got all good plus publicity about this property. So pretty cool.
I think he's asking if you want to buy some.
Yeah, I do, but I'm
Wait,
just sharing. Like, I'll buy pretty much.
Is
You know,
Brian going to
and
give a
condition.
discount here, or is he expecting par? Or is this
Yeah,
Brian?
there you
He's
go.
trying to broker a deal.
I would say email us.
Yes, reach out.
Here, I'll
To
put
any
at
of
least my
us,
email
so.
in there for Brian to send information to, and I'll get it to Chris and everyone else.
If you Google me, you can find my information.
You
So,
can find
I think
Chris.
we're all pretty easy to find.
Yeah, if you Google any of us, you can probably find us.
Chris doesn't have any online content. So.
Might even be able to chat GPT us and find us.
so.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.
And then there's more. Okay.
I actually got to hop off.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being on the show. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. And we'll see you guys next month. I can't remember if we're gonna be on next month or not. I know that Note Expo is right around the corner there in November, so I think we'll still be okay to have the show. Maybe it's later in November.
We may have to do it in remotely. So
We'll do it from Jay's hotel room.
Ah, there you go.
Chris and I will do it
The hotel bar.
Yeah, there you go.
with attorneys.
Yes. Matter of fact, yes. We will have Justin, you and I will have a reception that night.
I like it. We'll take
So,
care of it.
yeah.
All right, everyone. See you next
Let's
time.
get married.
Take care.
Maybe.
Take care.
Maybe
All
not. I
right.
don't know. We'll see.
Take care.